Hey guys, what's going on? Hope you're having a good day. It's Neil here from Post to Post. I thought I'd come at you with a kind of a ranking video, but not a ranking video that I ranked. It's actually just me sharing some statistical data with you in a ranking format. And I did this a couple of weeks ago, and you guys played along. You gave some answers down below, and it was a lot of fun to read through the comments and to saw you guys interacting with each other, which was pretty cool. And I kind of wanted to do something a little bit similar. So here we are. I'm going to show you the ranking of players who perform the best based on how much they get paid. So it's kind of like dollars per points, I guess you could equate it to. Players like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and these other players who get paid, close to $10 million or more and put up hundreds of points a year. I think Draisaitl at this point is near or over 100 as I'm filming this. And I mean, he gets paid a lot. He's got a lot of points, but as far as points per dollar, he's actually not near the top of the list at all. Whereas someone with more of a base salary and is maybe overperforming on their contract or on their team, or exceeding expectations, I mean, this is where the value's at. This is why GMs can make those trades for players like Grant and these kind of lower tier players that maybe no one's ever heard of, or maybe people don't pay attention to because they aren't these superstars. But there's value in these contracts. There's value in these players. And I think you'll see some of that value here in this list. And I'm going to show you basically the top 20. I filtered it so there's no entry-level contracts in here. So these players are base contracts or RFA contracts. So there's no completely entry-level players in here because I think the max is 950. Or the minimum is 700 and max is 950 or something like that. So every player in that zone, if they're playing in the NHL, chances are they're going to be on this list. And you can tell that by the numbers that you're going to see up along the left. It's not going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. After the filter, it goes 7, 11, 16, 22, 30, 35. So with those removed, it takes out a lot of the meat of this ranking. But I didn't want to include it because those are givens. I want to look at the players who are paid an average amount or less than average, but are really performing well or overperforming. So let's take a look at the list and just kind of look through it together. I'm not going to go through it one at a time. I just want to show you the entire thing. And maybe I'll kind of talk over it and just point out some things that I notice. All right, so we can see it here in front of us. We can see all the team names of teams who have a couple of these players that are really performing well based on dollar value. I mean, Pittsburgh has 3 players on this list. The Rangers are at the top of the list with Anthony DeAngelo. And if you look all the way over to the right, you'll see a $/P. That's basically dollars per points, or what they're paying him for every point that he's gotten. Now, as I'm filming this or recording this, he has net 49 points. So based on his salary and based on how many points he's gotten, he's being paid $18,878 per point that he gets, or per point that he's gotten so far this year. Of course, or if you watch this 24 hours from now, this list will completely change because players on here will get points, and those numerical values of as far as dollar will have changed. So it's kind of a silly video to do because this gets wiped out 24 hours after I make it, but it's still an interesting exercise to go through and look at some of these names and look at the value, because although they will fluctuate, they won't fluctuate egregiously where some of these players won't be off the list a week from now, or will be off the list a week from now. It should relatively remain the same. So a couple of the players that I notice on here are, Tyler Ennis, who has been tossed around a little bit in the past couple of years. He has 21 points, and based on that, and based on his salary, he's getting paid $22,222 per point. A player like that can come in and do wonders for a team. And same with like Connor Garland. He had a really good end to his season. He had a really good ending to the last half of his season. That's what I was trying to say. And he's having a really good year this year as well. $19,872 per point that he's gotten this year, which is 39. A couple of the other names on this list, Lucas Wallmark, Robbie Fabry, Ilya Kovalchuk, probably the oldest person on this list by far. Tyler Ennis is 30, but Kovalchuk, he's 36. He's just recently traded to Washington. They're only paying him $350,000 because Montreal retained 50%, and he's got 23 points on the year. I'm assuming he'll get quite a bit more playing with that talented team in Washington. Like Kevin LeBanc, Derek Grant, like I mentioned earlier, Rocco Grimaldi, Tyler Bertuzzi, Like there's also there's names on here that you'll know, of course, but there's names on here that you might not know, like Brad Hunt or Justin Hall, or like a William Carrier, but how often do you say his name, or how often have you heard his name said? It doesn't happen that often. So to see these players that don't get mentioned very often on this list and see how well they are performing based on what they're paid is pretty cool. Andrew Mangiapane's up in technically fourth place on this list, 22 overall. If we were including entry-level contracts, he's 23. Philadelphia's on here, the Islanders, Washington, like I mentioned earlier, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Vegas, LA, Calgary, Edmonton, lots of teams. Like there's lots of fluctuation here. I think Pittsburgh probably has the most on this list, but there's some teams that you just don't see on this list. There are no Montreal Canadian players on here. There are no Dallas Stars players on here. So this is a really cool list, just to kind of maybe not take too seriously, but just kind of take a step back and be like, oh wait, that's actually pretty cool. I could use this to see maybe what players that my favorite team's GM is looking at, or what kind of players he could get based on value per contract. It's just an interesting thing. I like to look at statistics. I think many of you do as well. I've done lots of stats videos in the past, and it's just an interesting ranking to see right now that Anthony DeAngelo is, leading this list of value contract based on what he's paid and how many points he's racking up. So, I mean, the Rangers are pretty lucky to have him, and there's lots of other players on this list that teams are lucky to have as well. So interesting exercise. Curious to see what you guys think about it. It's available. Like I didn't come up with this information myself. It's all available on Cap Friendly. I just found it on their site and thought I'd share it. And just thought I could maybe generate a conversation. So tell me your thoughts down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you can hit the subscribe button for lots of content coming up on this channel. And I mean a lot of content. I have so many things planned and not enough time to film them. So there should be at least one video being released for the next 2 weeks a day. I can honestly see, some of these days I'm going to be releasing probably 3 or 4 videos after this March Madness series gets over. I've got lots planned. So guys, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave your comments down below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.